Thanks for tuning in once again to Millennial Diligence. I just wanted to go over and recap the desk job versus manual labor video that I did probably about 3 weeks ago. I got a lot of good responses from it, and I just wanted to kind of give my feedback on each response and kind of break it down from a personal level and maybe start a conversation about the pros and cons. And this will probably be the last one I do about desk job versus manual labor. And yeah, we'll go from there. So let's get right into it. B. Jensen comments, I think you have to be extremely active after work if you have a desk job. Desk work or that type of management work will age you quicker than physical work. I had a great job at a food distribution company in my hometown and worked in the warehouse. When I worked there on the day shift, along with the office staff, inside salesmen, etc., I noticed how fast those people age, and I think it was the sitting at their desks that did it. Very hard on your body to sit or stand and do that type of work. I was in great shape always when working in the warehouse. This is my experience as well. When COVID was going on, I was still working as a video editor, and I was sitting for most of the day, and we were working from home. And I definitely aged a lot in those years. Whereas you're working in a warehouse, even on a slower day, you're getting some level of activity. My current situation is, even on a slow day at work in the warehouse, I still get about 10,000 steps in. When I was working at the desk, I was getting about 2,500 to 3,000 steps. So to this commenter's point, you really do have to be diligent, and you have to stick with a routine outside of work if you're going to do that kind of thing. Struggling with this as well over the past few years. The desk job will likely have a huge negative impact on mental and physical health, but the extra pay and energy can be worth it if you commit to the weekend warrior lifestyle. I mostly miss the good times I would have with coworkers at manual labor jobs. I ultimately think the desk job is worth it for the pay, but it's crucial to build the discipline to be social and active with any free time you have. When you're working that desk job, you're going to have to use additional hours outside of work, including your weekends, to maintain a healthy, active lifestyle. What I go to school for comments, desk jobs destroy your freaking body. Cardiovascular system goes to shit, hips and knees go bad, etc. I'm an accountant, and I also have to sit 8 hours a day. People don't realize how grueling that kind of work is on your body. But we have an inside rule in the firm. Every hour we have to leave our seat and time someone else to give 10 exercises to the rest. So basically their company mandates a 10-minute break. Whereas the company I'm at, they don't want you leaving your desk. You need to be there catching that phone. You need to have your ass planted catching that phone. No ifs, ands, or buts. Your mother's lover, 716 says, I got out of trucking working like 50, 60 hours a week to a 40-hour-a-week desk job. I would say the best part is less wear and tear on your body plus work-life balance. So there is some wiggle room there. Some people are saying, well, I got a decent desk job and it was less wear and tear on my body. Maybe he just got into it. Maybe he's not seeing the negative side effects, or maybe he found a good job and he's staying on top of his health outside of work as well. JR4627 says, I worked in blue collar fast food, cashier, warehouse jobs, then became a trial attorney. Mentally and physically, I was in the best shape of my life until I took an office attorney job. My energy levels plummeted. The desk job was also very isolating. I personally wish that I never took the desk job. A caveat is that a desk job won't improve my income, so that's an additional consideration. Key right there. I personally wish that I never took a desk job. We're talking about he became an attorney, and he's regretting, having to sit down all those days. And you would think, as an attorney, you're making quite a bit more than you would in any warehouse. I would recommend the desk job for better balance, better quality time with yourself, family, and friends, etc. Moreover, if you go that route, I think it's important to outline your career potential with the company/industry. Really ask yourself if you want to be a director of XYZ in 3 to 5 years. Also, your transition will provide great experience in that office. Okay, so there is something to say for that. This does put you on a path for management. There's no doubt about it. The inside sales position at my company puts you on a well-established path towards management. I have no interest in management. And I realize that could limit my income potential going forward. But I've seen the BS that my managers go through. And across the board, they are stressed out. They are in bad health. They have almost no work-life balance. The job is their life, basically. It's just not conducive to a healthy lifestyle. And I work with a crew that, yeah, we have our dust-ups now and then, but we're a pretty good crew and things get done pretty well. And my managers are still stressed out, and they're constantly rolling their eyes because they're having to balance egos, they're having to balance little tiffs that come up, disagreements, logistical issues. It isn't just like they're sitting there and they're just twiddling their thumbs all day. No way. No way. I'm not under that impression. That's definitely not been my experience. But my experience has been, for them making, 15% more money than I do, it's not worth the extra mental stress, because that mental stress is really going to translate over to your physical well-being. I really believe that. Definitely. I'm coming up on 4 years in the warehouse, and for the most part, my mental stress is very low. My physical stress is, moderate, because it is a physical job. We're on our feet all day, which does get old. It's not worth it. I don't think going into management is worth it. These guys are family men, so they do have that whole extra layer. They do have an incentive to work as hard as they can and increase their income. I don't have a family. I'm single. Like, my incentive is not to really make that much, that little bit extra money. Well, their bonuses are good. But that little bit extra money, that kind of washes away. That comes out in the wash when you're stressing out. It's affecting your sleep. It's affecting your health, that kind of thing. But I do appreciate that comment. Charlie T says, the best thing I can say is whatever you do or however you make, be sure to live below your means and invest the difference. I retired early that way on an average factory job and never regretted it for a second. So we talk about this a ton on this channel. Saving at least 10% of your income. This year, I am setting my sights at 25% of the income being directly invested into the 401k. Between that, the profit sharing at my company, and the 401k match, I could be looking at maybe saving around 17, 18 grand this year. That's my direct goal. But this is so true, and it's just good advice in general. The best thing I can say is whatever you do, or however much you make, no matter what, be sure to live below your means. Imanetic says, I find it crazy when I meet people who work manual labor jobs. Working in tech, you make exponentially more money and basically do nothing all day. You don't even have to leave your house. Maybe that's just my personal experience in the industry, though. Only downside is you must exercise daily or you are effed long term. I just exercise while I work. Well, I do have a degree, and I have looked into getting certifications for a tech job or something like that. But right now, that is looking more shaky than ever, the tech sector. They're getting people that'll do it for pennies on the dollar overseas, or bringing in these H-1B visas, and you're boned. So I'm not sure a tech job is exactly the miracle salve that so many people think it is. But I do appreciate that comment. And yeah, another person that's parroting that idea that you have to stay on top of every little thing in terms of your health. You got to be so diligent about working out. Juice 51 says, you're basically Daryl from The Office, from the warehouse to the desk. I would love that. Daryl seemed to have his finger on the pulse and had a pretty enjoyable life. He did do a good job at Dunder Mifflin, so I'm going to take that as a compliment. Thank you for the comment. Here's an interesting one from Low Life Angler. I'm an engineer in automotive molded plastics. I have a desk and a laptop. On any given day, Monday through Friday, I spend about 15 to 20 minutes plus lunch at my desk. I'm on the plant floor running trials, setting molds, and assisting with engineering support. The younger generation college kids thinks the engineer is a desk job. Think again. I've been in manufacturing since 1995. When I sit on the couch to relax, it's at 7:30 to 10 p.m. I feel like a waste of space. So this is a commenter who has kind of the best of both worlds. He has a high-paying engineering job, but he also isn't living that sedentary desk lifestyle. He's walking the plant. He's checking up on things. That might be the best of both worlds. Now that I think about it, I appreciate the comment. I'm seeing a lot of comments that are mentioning the idea that, well, if you just do 30 minutes of somewhat active work, or like somewhat like working out, like semi-actively, you can offset the losses. I'm not sure about that. Some people are saying half an hour to an hour, maybe an hour. Yeah, I'm at a desk because it makes more money. I would rather be moving around, but that's not going to make 100 grand a year. Now I get to get up and move every hour, and now that I work from home, I got to go to the gym every day. So he's doing kind of a cost benefit analysis where he says, well, I'm going to make the big bucks at the desk, and that extra money is going to afford me a better lifestyle, and I will stick to a gym schedule. So I can't hate on that, because definitely, aside from the benefits, where I'm living in Southern Oregon, yeah, the job, it is a pretty good job. It really is in terms of warehouse jobs, it's a great job. But at the end of the day, I only make about 55 grand a year before benefits and profit sharing and all that. So it's not the be all end all, but it is a pretty good job for this valley. But I could see what he's saying. The income potential for a desk job is going to be much higher. There's just, that's all there is to it. And there's less turnover typically. A lot of people they're parroting the same thing. They're saying, do the desk job and just make sure to work out and stick to it. Jonah Peel says, don't be stupid. Choose the career path that earns more. I mean, yeah, there is something to be said for that. There is, but it's not just the money. I think it's not just the money. And I don't want for anything in my life. I mean, I don't own a home. That sucks. That stings. That's the worst part about this whole thing, really. Being my age and kind of chasing that video dream for all those years and then having to kind of give up on it and starting over and not owning a home yet. That stings for sure. So there is something to be said for just taking the more lucrative job and being back on the path towards homeownership. Ian says, I work hybrid, so I think it breaks up the monotony a bit. 1 day in meetings, 2 days at home, 2 days in design and print. On top of that, I work a somewhat active desk job where half the day I'm wrestling with a printer, making marketing materials, and the other half I'm at my desk designing and blasting heavy music in my headphones to drown out the office BS. I like the balance I've struck, but I can see being a desk job 40 hours a week could be bad for your physical health, which then leads to degrading of your mental health. On the other hand, going into uncertain times, I would want to make that bread. Gotta weigh the options, I guess. Try going for a run first thing or hitting the gym before work so you don't feel like such a lump when you get home. Yep, that's what it would take. That's what it would really take is you got to get in there. You got to get in the gym. You have got to do it probably before work because you're not going to feel like it after work. I think we're getting closer to a consensus here. Little update. They haven't offered me the job yet. They haven't offered me more money. I've talked to the other inside salesmen. I basically sussed out what they're making, and it doesn't justify the increase in pay. Doesn't justify the cons, basically, so far. Now, if he comes and says, "Oh yeah, we'll take you from, 55 a year to 65 a year," okay, I might think about it, but kind of a big decision. The company's in flux. We're moving warehouses right now, so it isn't as cut and dry as I would like it to be. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think this is the time. It's not. I got my 4-year coming up in April, so that'll be 4 years of the company. I'll be 60% vested for their 401k, so things are going well there. And depending on how shaky the economy is, I'm not planning on quitting anytime soon. So I am in an enviable position. I don't have to risk my job. I'm not in any danger of losing my job, almost certainly. Even my company, even when in the roughest of times, they don't go through layoffs. They don't even go through seasonal layoffs. It is very stable, and I can live with it. I'm not gonna stagnate. I'm still gonna grow in my current role, and then depending on how desperate my boss gets, we could enter negotiations. We'll see. We have tried to hire from outside before for this position, for the inside sales position, and it simply has not worked. It's been mainly a problem of people don't gel with the other inside salesmen, which is a huge barrier. So we've hired a few people that were older that had experience in inside sales, and they could do it, and they could kind of adapt to our computer system, but they didn't gel with the other salesmen very well. And from my experience, the salesmen in there are very easy to get along with. So that just speaks to how damn stressful it can be and how it can really start to affect, interpersonal relationships. I'm treated really well in the warehouse. They don't lean on me too much for the physical work. I'm more of at this point, I'm honestly more of a glorified librarian. I manage the inventory. So I do cycle counts and I make sure that everything's where it's supposed to be. That's it. And we've got it to a point where it's pretty dialed in. So it really is kind of almost like a librarian custodian type role. So I really can't complain. So I will obviously update you guys if things change in the near future, which they may well could. Like I said, we're moving warehouses, so there's kind of kind of a big flux right now. I'm really not thinking in terms of moving inside quite yet without, I mean, obviously not without a serious bump in pay. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.